Okay, so the last time we went ahead and looked at Vampire Wars, and that was a pretty awful movie.
It had horrible voice acting, a weak plot, and starred an action hero named Cookie. This time we have the honor of taking a look at another anime movie with the word war in the title, Psychic Wars. While this movie has no connections to Vampire Wars, Psychic Wars was made by the same folks at Toei Animation.
While you can tell that this movie was animated by the same group, you can tell at the same time that they were directed by two completely different people. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we actually start doing this review, we need to talk about a few things first.
First, I want to make it clear that this is not a fan sub. The footage you are looking at right now comes from the DVD released by Manga Video, and it doesn't even come with an English dub. Yeah, these are the guys who dubbed Vampire Wars, which sported great lines as,
"Yes, he wants some blood."
They didn't even bother to dub this movie?
Anyway, the point is, this movie only comes with subtitles. And these are some of the worst subtitles I've seen outside of a fan sub.
Whoever wrote out these subtitles must speak some really awkward English, because none of these lines sound right when you read them aloud. Here are a few that I pulled out at random. You must get rid of it through some operation. Weird, right? Or how about this one? I have long felt that you exist far off from the ordinary world. What does that even mean? Then you have ones like this. I will destroy their ambition. Who the hell speaks like that? I don't know if it's just me, but the way the subtitling is written is really distracting, and I would have expected a distributor like Manga Video to have done a better job at this.
While I would have expected this kind of work from a fan subber who uses Windows Movie Maker, this is not something I would come to expect from the people who distributed Ghost in the Shell.
Another thing we gotta talk about before we can start this movie is the pacing of the movie itself. It switches between, oh my god, somebody shoot me slow, to what the flying hell just happened fast. While this is a problem with a lot of movies, this movie is a special case. Why? Well, see for yourself.
大原の里深き極尊寺に我が命を捧げ地獄よりの死者を歌う
Yeah, this movie mixes these two kind of scenes together to create a very unique blend of boring confusion.
The last thing I want to do is to make my viewers feel as confused and bored as I was while watching this movie, so if it seems like I'm skipping sections of the movie, I am, but only to help the movie make sense of itself.
Hopefully that'll help you cope with what pain this movie's about to bring to you. But ready or not, let's go ahead and play this movie.
So the movie begins in somewhat of an artsy manner as it opens up with this red balloon floating into the air as a narrator tells us about a demon coming to destroy our world. But all I can think about is how awesome this scene would be if 99 Lava Balloons was playing in the background.
Hast du etwas Zeit für mich? Singe ich ein Lied für dich von 99 Luftballons auf ihrem Weg
The plot, and I use the term loosely, is about a doctor named Yuko, who meets an old priestess with a demonic parasite inside of her. After removing the parasite, Yuriko heads over to the shrine where she practiced to investigate, and he is given supernatural abilities. Note that I said supernatural instead of psychic, because one thing that this movie has in common with Vampire Wars is that it also gets its title wrong. Yes, this movie is actually about demons. Everything in this movie revolves around mysticism and divine magical powers instead of using your mind as a weapon.
I can't tell you how disappointed I am with this, because I was really hoping to use some clips from a certain game.
And then you'll make their heads explode?
No. Do you do that?
But I can't do that now, can I?
Also, I'm kind of confused about why they didn't just call this movie Demonic Wars. Hell, that sounds kind of badass, doesn't it? Anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, Yuko gets a call from his nurse, Fuyuko, who, on a side note, is the only other person in this movie with an actual name. Fuyuko tells Yuko that the priestess died that night. While making arrangements to bury the body, Yuko gets an urgent phone call.
Oh my god. I found it. The perfect clip to make fun of. Oh, yes. Let's do the first 5 that come to mind.
Holcomb Punch!
I am a man!
Oh, yes. Yes. There is plenty more you can do with that clip. I dare you, in fact, I welcome you to do whatever you can to make this clip funny.
But sadly, we must move on. After the fight with the Metroid wannabes, Yuko realizes that he is the chosen one, if you will, and he must put a stop to this demonic power that threatens our world. Yuko goes to the forest to give the priestess a proper burial, where he meets up with Fuyuko. They have some really awkward and clunky dialogue between them about Yuko gaining this ability and how he must stop the 5,000-year-old demon, but honestly, the only thing I can really think about is why the demon is 5,000 years old.
Does the age of the demon really matter? Is there really a difference between a younger demon and an older demon? Because when you start saying numbers like 5,000, I start to think that this demon's going to be rising up from the pits of hell in a wheelchair.
Also, during this bit of dialogue, a relationship is established between the two, but since these are really the only two characters in this movie outside of the villains, you'd expect this sort of thing to happen, because what's an anime movie without some kind of love story? The two head off towards the mountains where they come across a shrine. Yuko plays at the shrine where he meets the Holy Woman, and yes, that is what the movie actually calls them. And they grant him the ability to summon 2 demonic weapons, a sword and a spear, which he uses to fight a gold-plated demon. Something else I should explain about this movie is that it doesn't explain any of the religious overtones. While I did study foreign religions while I was in high school, I couldn't tell you what references this movie is making to what religion.
Well, I will admit that this isn't always such a bad thing, but because we're dealing with psychic wars, this movie becomes 1,000 times more confusing than it already is.
Yuko defeats the demon with his new powers, and, well, this happens.
Well, that doesn't raise any suspicions of Fuyuko to being a suspicious character.
Moving on, Yuriko visits his university friend, and he tells the two of a cave that holds the ruins of an old civilization. The cave is on a mountainside, of which I have no idea on how you pronounce it. Look, see, Oridihara? Is that how you say it?
At first, I really thought this was just a name that was made up to sound cool in Japanese, but I looked it up and this place really does exist. It's an actual mountainside. So I guess, if anything, this movie has taught me a little bit about Japanese geography.
The two start talking about whether or not they should progress the plot when... Wait a minute. What in the hell is going on in the background? It looks like Ryu is shooting Hadokens.
Hadouken! Hadouken!
言ってください。
Hadouken!
でも先生のもしものことが
Hadouken!
私
Hadouken! 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 Hadouken!
I think I can understand why someone would think that Ryu is a cheap character now.
So they go to the mountains where Yuko is kidnapped and Yuriko discovers a cave of the old civilization. Then, taking a turn for the just plain confusing, Yuriko falls into a time portal. He ends up in the caveman era of Japan, aka the Jimon era, and what's the first thing that he does? Why, he beats a dog with a rifle, of course. He then goes and attacks a group of demons with his gun, creating all sorts of time paradoxes, I'm sure. He even steals one of the demons' horses and claims it for his own. And is it just me, or does this horse look like Ipina on steroids? The elder of the tribe takes Yuriko to a waterfall where he meets the holy woman again, and they tell him if he doesn't stop the demons now, the future will be forever changed. On the way over to the demon's hideout, Yuriko finds Fuyuko tied to a tree in her birthday suit, but this turns out to be a demon in disguise. Not only that, but this demon has been Fuyuko since the burial scene.
This opens up a whole nother can of worms later on in the movie, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
For now, I should comment that the fight scenes in this movie are just really short and boring. Not much to say outside of that. Well, there is that one moment where Yuriko punches this demon in the crotch. That's kinda awesome. And this demon's death is really only missing one thing.
Fatality.
After killing the water demon, Yuriko discovers the demon's hideout, and he fights his way into the enemy fortress. There, the leader of the group gives a speech about how he's going to open up a time rift and bring his massive army through the portal to the future and overthrow society.
My question is this: why go to the future? You're in a time period right now where the most advanced technology that humans have at this point are sharp sticks and stones. I think you would have an easier time taking over that time period instead of the time period with machine guns and pistols.
In the time period that you're currently in, you are feared by the humans and have clear dominance over them. A little bit ago, the cavemen were talking about how the demons were coming to their village from time to time, taking their women and eating them. You guys clearly have dominance over these people. Take advantage of it.
Shape their history. Control what little power the humans have left. Seriously, the possibilities are endless in this period of time. Why do you want to go into the future where the humans aren't going to be so easily controlled?
So Yuriko blows up their base in order to stop the demon army from entering the time portal. While this kills a majority of the army, a few demons are able to make it through, and Yuriko slaughters them with ease after he jumps through the time portal. He then goes after their leader. Also, talk about a weird place for product placement. After killing the demon, the real Fuyuko rewards Yuriko with sex, which is a pretty good reward, wouldn't you say? Aw, James Cameron's touched a lot of lives, hasn't he? You mean Peo, right? Just who in the hell are you talking about? Peo? He's the creator of the Smurfs. Everyone knows that. Wait, I thought we were filming the Navi doing it. You idiot. This is obviously some hot Smurf and Smurfette action. You can't be serious. Do they even look like they're close to being 3 apples high? Well, they're not Navi. I can tell you that much, 'cause they don't have tails. Well, if they're blue, and they ain't a Smurf, and they ain't a Navi, then what the hell are they? I don't know. How about you, CJ?
They could be Stella and Apricarius, or however you say that name.
Oh, good call there. What?
The bassist and the guitarist from Interstellia 5555.
Oh. Hey, wait a minute. This is normally when you scream at us for interrupting your reviews. How come you're letting us go on like this?
Look, when you're watching this movie, any sort of distraction is welcome.
So, are you saying that we might be making more appearances if the movie doesn't exactly work out?
No.
Oh, come on, CJ. Let us have our own episode.
Hell no. Look, I gotta finish this review. Kindly shove off.
The Holy Woman show up again to tell Yuriko that the Demon King still needs to be taken care of and that he shouldn't let his guard down. Yuriko doesn't believe them since he believes the last demon he killed was the Demon King. The next morning, Yuriko confesses his love for Fuyuko, and they head out to meet Fuyuko's parents. They stop at Fuyuko's family temple, and this is where that can of worms I was talking about earlier appears. At this point in the movie, Fuyuko states that she's fallen in love with Yuko, but I find that really hard to believe since the Fuyuko Yuko built the relationship with was with the water demon Fuyuko. The movie suggests that the water demon took Fuyuko's place around the time that Yuko took the remains from the priestess to be buried. And if that's true, the only scenes of intimacy between Yuko and the real Fuyuko are during this scene.
All those personal and close things said that built the relationship up until this point were said with the water demon in this movie. The thing is, though, if we follow simple logic, Fuyuko would not have been able to have known any of this because she wasn't there.
But somehow the movie forgot this and made the relationship even stronger because of the crap that they went through with each other. It'd be different if the real Fuyuko had been captured with the demons when they switched her out. But no, she was just in her apartment when all this time-traveling demon fighting was going on. The only thing that drew her attention towards the battle between Yuko and the Sky Demon was the giant explosion in the streets. This relationship is ultimately bogus. And to add to the madness of this plot, Fuyuko reveals that she is in fact the real Demon King.
I have no idea where to begin with this one. I know that they put this in here simply for shock value, but there are 3 things wrong with this.
1, we had no reason to trust her character after the first betrayal. When you have a character you trusted stab someone in the back, you tend to watch out and look for signs that they're going to be doing it again. Number 2, there are only 2 characters in this movie. Sure, you've got Yuko's university friend and the priestess, but you can tell this story without even mentioning their insanely small parts. Also, I'm not counting the villains as characters in this movie, since they have no personality at all. The only 2 characters in this movie are Yuko and Fuyuko, and as most plots go, you need one of those 2 characters to be the villain. And finally, number 3, she gives herself away by saying things like this.
たくさんの魔獣族が死んだのですね。
ああ、そうしなければ縄文人が滅び、現代の社会が存在しなくなる。
でも、もっと繁栄したかもしれません。
Then that is when you realize something. Why didn't she try to stop him from the beginning of the movie?
If she had known that Yuko was the chosen hero from the start of this movie and her ultimate goal was to kill him and to save her fellow demons, why didn't she just kill him after saving her from the parasite at the beginning of the movie? And believe it or not, the movie does have an answer for this, and it's because she loves him.
And we all know that's basically bullshit, since this relationship couldn't have happened.
Thankfully, all that's left of this movie is a crappy final battle, and that ends with Yuko killing Fuyuko in her demon form. The movie ends with Yuriko handing the dead body of Fuyuko to the Holy Woman, and they tell him that the curse of the 5,000-year-old demon is finished, and that his true love is waiting for him. What, you mean his university buddy? Because that's the only character left in this movie! Oh, just fade to black!
So that piece of stomach bile was Psychic Wars. How does it stand, I guess?
This movie, by far, is the worst movie I've had the pleasure of reviewing on this show. The story is a complete mess with plot holes and stupidity, the animation is crap, and to make it worse, this movie feels slow. This movie clocks in about 50 minutes, but I swear this movie feels like it's 2 hours long. Combine all those factors together, and you've got a movie that's just hard to watch on any sort of level.
Thankfully, now that this review is done, I never have to watch this movie anymore. This is CJ Hitchcock, signing out. So, you prevailed. You didn't lose your mind like the others that had tried reviewing this movie. Looks like I'll have to try harder next time.
Say something hideous and horrible jumps out at you. Something so disgusting that it simply must die. So tacky. I can't look directly at it, but I control those feelings. Focus them, concentrate, and release. And the world is a better place. Your turn.